Hey everybody, welcome to the Snow West Show. I'm your host, Ryan Harris. We're down here at the Utah Snowmobile Show in our brand new facility. We're in Western Sports Park in Farmington, Utah. I hope if you're watching this, you came down and saw this show for yourself. But it's a new facility for us. It's a little change of scenery, getting out of traffic. But you know, the best part about moving here is we got an earlier date on the facility, and we got out of the general hunts. That is the thing that we would hear about endlessly, being the end of October down at the other facility, is, man, you guys are on top of deer season, you're on top of elk season, but
actually you're on top of opening deer for Idaho, just so you know. So you might not get some Idaho guys down.
Idaho. That's Idaho.
I'm just saying. And I'm here.
We'll worry about them later. Introductions here real quick. So this show is going to be about Rocky Mountain States Hill Climb Association. So I go so far back, it used to be Rocky Mountain Snowmobile Hill Climb Association.
Correct.
But it's now Rocky
Mountain States Hill Climb Association.
Rocky Mountain States. We're going to skip that whole part where my brain is just not accepting that. So we're going to call it RMSHA. This is the RMSHA show. And on this show, we have Mason Rutledge, pro factory Skidoo pilot.
Factory Skidoo Hill Climb racer, Skidoo ambassador on the kind of the backcountry team, climb backcountry athlete, and I'm stoked to be on the show again. And awesome new venue here in Utah, and it's busy behind us. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but there's a lot of people out here pretty excited for winter.
So for RMSHA, you're the factory rep for Skidoo?
Yeah, I'm the Skidoo racer rep on the RMSHA board.
So when you guys go and have your board meetings, you kind of stand up for
some kind of more or less a voice for the Skidoo racers, you know, and Polaris team has one, the Arctic Cat team has one, and we're kind of just that connection between, you know, our president and kind of the ins and outs of RMSHA, and that connection to them, to the racers, to kind of communicate rule changes, questions, concerns, things like that.
Like, does this go to blows sometimes?
Yeah, not everyone always agrees on everything, that's for sure. But everyone's pretty good group.
Did you ever put Cody
in there.
in a headlock?
I thought about it a couple times. So.
Well, he must have done something, because he's on a Skidoo.
He is, yeah. He's going to be a teammate this year. I'm super stoked on that, and I think he's pretty excited.
This is one of those things you never really see coming, because that family's been Polaris since day one.
Yeah.
They've been factory snowcross pilots. They've been factory hill climb pilots. That's pretty crazy to see him jump into Skidoo. Yeah. Who's going to take his place as the Polaris racer rep?
So I believe Toby Shepard is going to be the Polaris racer reps.
Yeah, can't get better than that.
Yeah, no, he's a solid dude. Looking forward to working with him on the RMSHA side of things.
Awesome. All right, next to Mason, we have Hadley West. You're a pro women's hill climb racer. You race Polaris.
Yep.
How long have you been racing?
This is year 5.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How many wins you got?
I think probably 5.
5? That's a pretty good. That's 5 more than I got. That's a pretty good record. I was going to ask you, where are you from?
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a beautiful area up there. We used to go up there for summers, and that'd be a hard place not to want to live.
Oh, yeah. It's very pretty.
That's a cool spot. Do you get a lot of snow up there in the winter?
Yeah. I mean, not really in town, but we travel to the mountains, yeah.
So you have a race that's kind of right there in the backyard. Is that...
Not really.
Didn't you race up there?
We did not. Lookout Pass canceled last year.
Oh, that's right. That's the one I was thinking of. I forgot that canceled at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get this schedule, I guess. So we'll talk about that if that's going to be on the schedule again. Down there next to Hadley, we have Cody Spencer, president of RMSHA. How many? Is this your 4th year?
I believe so. This is the 4th year in.
4th year, 14th year, 20th year, something like that?
It's been a long road, but it's been fun. So.
Well, that's a lot of fun. If you ever go to a RMSHA race and you're hanging around the pits and you're watching and everything, this is the guy walking around with the hat with the spiked hair.
That is. Yep. And contrary, my hair has transformed because of my old age that it matches the gray hair on the hat now. So
that's a pretty good getup right there. And then down there at the end of the table, Tracy Davis. Tracy, you do live announcing for RMSHA. Do you go to every event?
Every event, yes.
So you got a trailer with all this audio equipment in there, and you back it up right next to the start line. I had the opportunity. It was such a cool experience to go down to the King of Kelly's race last year with you and sit in that trailer with you and do some of that live announcing during the race. You're a pro, man. Like you don't miss a beat with any of that action.
I appreciate it, dude. And, you know, the thing is, when you get into it, you're one of the fans as well. So on top of the announcing with you there too, Ryan, and we had a good time. I mean, it's just literally a great time doing it. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and the pace that you maintain, because you've got a couple windows here and there, but for the most part, they run through, like once you get into like, say, the pro stock classes, you just run those things back to back.
Yeah.
And so you've got to have your sheets there, your cheat sheets there, and your running orders, and it's just racer after racer after racer, and they go from 7 stock into 850 stock just without missing a beat. And you stay right on top of that stuff. That's a lot of fun.
I appreciate it. A lot going on behind the scenes, and it's all worth doing. Again, a fan of the sport, so being a fan of the sport, it makes it fun.
My favorite part of that, well, 2 favorite parts, was when some of the drivers would come in, pop their heads into the trailer and come in, you'd hand them a headset, and then you'd sit there and talk about, like, they just get off the mountain, and you're sitting there asking them questions about their run. That was a lot of fun. And then the best part of that weekend down at King of Kelly's, though, was our buddy from Sweden.
Oh, the cowboy.
The cowboy.
The nickname came out, and I don't know if it continued on to Jackson, but we talked about that, and he came in and...
Real quick, I just want to say thanks to the companies that support the Snow West Show. Please support these companies and that are involved in the snowmobile industry. First off, Fly Racing is the #1 gear brand in Supercross and Motocross, and they bring that same product innovation to snowmobiling. Whether it's monosuits, helmets, boots, gloves, or goggles, Fly Racing has you covered for your snowmobile gear head to toe. Check them out at flyracing.com or Fly Racing Snow on socials. And thanks to DV Inc. for supporting the show. Head on over to dvinc.com and check out their custom wrap builder with their new interactive design tools that make designing and customizing wraps easy. Their new colorizer tool randomizes color combinations until you land on the look you love. Then try the design mixer tool to see all the DV Inc. designs in the colors you've selected. Check it out at dvinc.com. And thanks to Tempest Optics, these goggles feature an automatic lens heating system that sets the bar for fog prevention. We wear them. They just signed Steve Martin. They have a huge assortment of lens options. They're easy to swap. We get 3 to 5 rides on a single charge out of these, and they will stay charged for a very long time. No on and off switch, no external battery pack, no power cords. Just charge them and ride. Check them out at tempestoptics.com and on social media. And welcome to the show, EasyLink. We've seen EasyLink stuff on trucks, snowmobiles, and UTVs for a while now. EasyLink connects your truck, your UTV, or your snowmobile with one device, making diagnostics, recalibrations, flash support, and factory functions easier than ever. One device, one platform, all your machines connected with EasyLink. See more at easylink.com. And thanks to Caliber Products. They've been the leader in trailer glides and snowmobile shop wheels for years, but did you know they also do flooring for trailers and shops, ramps, and a bunch of other accessories? One of the coolest things that we've seen is the Traction Ladder HD. This allows your track to engage with the ramp sooner for safer, more controlled loading on any sled deck ramp or bed loading ramp. Check out all the products Caliber offers at caliberproductsinc.com. Now back to the show.
You know, I can't remember what we were talking about,
but
but
the running order said Texas.
yeah, it did say
So
Texas.
he was from Texas.
The Texan, is that what we call him? The
so we're
Texan.
calling him the Texan.
Loved it.
Lima, Texas, but
Yeah.
actually Lima, Sweden.
Yeah.
And so he comes over and sticks his head in the trailer and he's like, "Hey, I'm from Sweden."
But then Ryan and I get the hook on him. We're like, "Hey, what about a sit down?" He's like, "I'm in." You know, and here we go. It was so cool. And that's the best part, is just getting the feel and understanding who, what, when, and why, right? And the racers and the hill climbers. I mean, it's absolutely incredible, and they are the fastest, the baddest hill climbers in the world. Again, welcome to RMSHA when we get going.
Yeah, absolutely. Down there at the end of the table, test rider for Snow West Magazine, Broc Genta. We got to get you out on the course. You got to run a race.
We should have like a Snow West test rider challenge or
I'm
something.
in. Let's go. Can I borrow your sled though?
I was going to say, you got something I can ride?
My sleds are always welcome to you.
You know
guys,
what? I think I'll take a Polaris.
You can ride mine.
You'll probably lose.
I don't know why. I'd take a Polaris.
Okay,
but,
so
I mean,
you and me and Bruce and Rhett and Justin, we show up. We can walk through the pits and just grab whatever sled we want.
Fair
and
game.
we line up at the gate. We got like a 15-minute window, so we each get one run. And just grab a sled. We don't even tell whose sled we're taking. So if Keith walks out of his trailer, he's like, "Hey, was my open mod here?" It's like, "Nope, it's on the start line."
yeah.
You guys talking, and the excitement of that president goes like this. He's like, "Yes."
That'd be awesome.
Cody's like, "I got to up the insurance."
Oh yeah, because those sleds are going to take a tumble.
Oh yeah. They're especially with Justin on there.
No, especially with the Broc. Yeah, I don't think Justin took out a running board 2 years ago. But you know, we go through parts every year.
I was good this last year. It was the year before I struggled, but yeah, this year I was good. Nothing.
Yeah, Justin, we were on that Fox ride, and Justin was on Cardi B.
Yeah.
And I think that was before I got up there. Because So Fox did their intro of the new shocks for 26. They did it in Island Park. I went up the night before, did the dinner presentation, everything. And then Justin went up the next morning and started out on the ride with all these guys. It's Chris Brandt and Carl Kuster, Tony Jenkins, Dave McClure, Frank from Ice Age, and Stephen Clark. And they were up there just riding great terrain, finding all this gnarly terrain. And so I'm like, if I can come up, I'll come up. So I show up late, get to the cabin, and Stephen sent me his location. So I'm like, but it's spotty, because you lose service. So I'm going to wherever Stephen was 20 minutes ago, trying to find these guys. And finally catch up to them, and then they're all like, hey, Stephen, we're sick of filming. I'm like, hey, follow me. Let's just go for a little rip. We'll go 20 minutes. And I had every one of those guys standing in knee-deep water in 15 minutes. And it was, you go back and watch the stories we had on Snow West Magazine, but Justin was on Cardi B on that Chaos Boost 155 with 325 track, and he hit a rock or something and bent that aerometer. But yeah, we go through a few parts every year, for sure. No.
We got to test them, right?
Yeah, we do. So let's talk about the rim shot circuit. I'm really curious, but I don't have the presentation packet, so I'll let you guys talk about this. What's the schedule going into 2026?
Ooh, that's excitement.
Let's dive right in.
Let's dive right in here. So we're kicking it off at Soldier Summit. We started, that was a new venue last year, and it worked out awesome for us. We loved it. We were trying to change some dates here just yesterday to finalize things, but we're going to kick off on Soldier Summit is going to be, my apologies here, the 16th and 7th of January. So one of the things that the OEs have asked us to do is to help move the races earlier on in the year so that we can, as we're racing in snow, they're still in their snow lineup for marketing. So we've started moving those races earlier in the year. And one of the benefits of Flow and having Tracy there is the venues are now allowing us to race while there's still skiers on the hill. We can coordinate off a section where we race, and so we're able to do that. So,
because that's been the issue in the past, is you're trying to get beyond the ski season and ride once the ski hill's closed.
Yes.
And put the races on there. This is a long schedule. That's a lot of races.
So we've tried pacing it where we have a race and then a weekend off, a race and then a weekend off, and then all three of the OEMs have asked us to not race the week before Jackson or the week after because they want a week to prep and a week to fix everything. Just like you said, we're all going through parts. But we're going right from Soldier Mountain right over to Salt Pass over in Bear Lake, and then we're going right into Afton. And then from Afton, we go to Kelly Canyon and race under the lights again, which is where you were there, and then the World Championships. And there's 2 weekends off there, between the World Championships and Beaver, and then we go to Tamarack for the finals. There's still a pretty good possibility. We have 3 or 4 venues that we're dealing with and ski resorts that we're going to still schedule another one in there or try to make it happen this year.
Oh, on top of these?
Correct. So see if we can fill another weekend in between there. Just because Mother Nature is not our biggest fan some years, we always end up losing a race like we talked about, Lookout Pass or something. So we try to schedule, and if we have a full race, we're great. If we have to let one or, pass and circle back around and grab it next year, that's what we'll do.
So how big of a hit is that when you go into a season and you've got to cancel a race like we were talking about?
It's a big hit, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes here with making sure all of our, our support and everything behind the scenes and making sure it works with Flow and their schedule, on the weekends. And the cross branding that we're going to be doing this year with Flow, across onto the snow cross side and some stuff like that. It's a big hit to what we do. But as long as we meet the required amount to actually have what we call a series with all 3 OEMs and with ISR, we're good. So.
Yeah, and all 3 OEMs, you got Arctic Cat back, and it was looking pretty sketchy there for a while, and you used to work for these guys.
Yeah.
You were with Arctic Cat, and before they sold the Textron, and then did, what'd you do, 2 years with Textron?
I was there for, I think, 3 with Textron.
3 years as a DSM?
Yep.
Man, it's the industry back at Snowshoot. So you go back to February, maybe the 26 prototype intros, and then we go to Snowshoot the end of February. The industry, man, the mood back then was bad. Like, it was sour. That's probably the gloomiest I've seen this industry in the 30 years I've covered it.
Yeah, this year at Snowshoot. Did you feel it too, Mason? It was just like, all the other OEMs are just like, it sucks not having Cat here.
For sure. It's not the same when everyone's there. And so, we're stoked to have them back and excited to see what they can do to help innovate and push everyone.
But you go from snowshoe, like that time period, and then you go to heydays, and man, the mood shifted tremendously. Like,
For sure.
people at heydays were excited. Like all the OEMs were excited. Like, it's just a total dynamic shift, and part of it is Arctic Cat being back on board.
Yep.
And part of it is just, the economy was pretty rough in the spring. We're sitting on 50% carryover on some of this stuff on model year 24, 25. That's high. That's as high as it's probably ever been in a long time. But they've come up with programs. They've cut production numbers, most of the OEMs, and now we're in a position where, okay, everybody's happy again. Things look good. So but Arctic Cat was a big factor of that. Just knowing that we got that third manufacturer back, and not only are they back, but they're back in racing. Arctic Cat's just done so much for racing since they've been around, and for them to pull out of racing and kind of cut all that funding, that sucked. That was a bummer. And to lose that factory support on the hill climb circuit for a few years there, and to get out of cross country racing and get out of snowcross as a factory team and all that factory support. But to hear them come back, because we did a podcast at Heydays where we talked to Brad Darling and Troy Halverson, and we got to ask them a lot of questions. And one of them was like, okay, we asked them about Black Cats, because you've got the sponsored riders, Dave McClure, Riley Kincaid, those guys. But it's like, Arctic Cat is built on racing. It's such a grassroots brand.
Right.
What are you doing for racing? It's like, we're back. We're back in everything, every single form. And it'll take us, a year or two to get back to the factory race level, but just back with factory support, providing sleds, having guys at the races helping, making sure that they're connecting with everybody that can help with tuning and setup. It's really changed the dynamic.
Yeah, I listened to that podcast, and I was excited to hear that they're going all in on racing. One of the reasons is I look back at some of the old RMSHA photos, and it used to be just a sea of green. Everyone was racing in Arctic Cat, it seemed like, and we haven't had that for a lot of years. So I'm personally excited to have that one, because it opens up more opportunities for more racers. Budget's a big word we hear every year from these OEMs. They get budget cuts or this or that because of sled sales or heavy inventory, like you're saying. But the fact that we can have a third manufacturer that has race dollars set aside to support racers just means there's 4, 5, 6, 7 more guys and gals that get an opportunity to race these snowmobiles and have some support. And that grows the sport. Racing RMSHA can get expensive, and the OEMs do as much as they can, and it stretches them pretty far in a lot of things. So just have that third pillar of a tripod to help RMSHA, I think, will be super beneficial.
Yeah, because if you look back at last season, as far as cat racers, you had the Ehrman brothers. Mm-hmm. You had
Riley Kincaid for like half the season,
and Tapios for portions of the season. Yep. And they don't do the full circuit, and
then Will Burgess was there.
Yeah, you got to get the wild one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then somebody was running Will. Oh, was it Riley racing Will's sled at a couple races?
I think so. Yeah.
They're racing the snowcross setup. Yeah, so it'll be nice to have. Let's get back up to where we have a couple dozen racers on cats.
Yep.
Get that sea of green coming back from Rasmussen's days.
Right. Yeah. We need it for sure.
I want to get back to that area, but we don't have hoods anymore. Back then, Rasmussen had that clown. He always had a crazy clown painted hood.
Okay.
But we don't have the real estate on fiberglass hoods anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So you can do wraps and stuff, but that was a lot of fun. Hadley, I was going to ask you, what's your favorite race on the circuit, Ben? Traditionally,
I think the most scary is Afton. It's the most build up and the most excitement.
So is that your favorite, though? Or is it just because of that adrenaline rush?
Probably. I would say that. Or Salt Pass Board Grass it's a good one. It's a good one to start your season off and get your ground.
A little higher paced.
Yeah, it's less intense than Afton, but it gets you calm for the rest of the season. Yeah.
I raced the circuit in 99 2000, and I raced Afton, and it scared the bejesus out of me. Like scared the crap out of me. And I don't know why. It's just like what you're saying. It's the ruts. You're not racing snow. That's the thing about RMSHA. You're not racing snow here.
No.
You're racing a rut where everybody, guys like Mason, have gone through there and sent all the snow on a 10-foot wide swath down the mountain or on another part, and you're down to the rocks and the dirt. and tree stumps and everything. And that's what makes Afton such a wild event.
Oh, yeah.
It's just crazy.
And every year you think it's going to get less steep, and it doesn't change.
I think the stumps are growing too. Like the stumps are still growing. They need to go in there and mow those down a little bit.
Right.
Find a little budget for that, Cody.
We'll work on that one.
What's your favorite event, Mason?
Man, it's tough. I mean, it's so cool that every race has a different dynamic, and a lot of it, for me, the favorite race can change a lot depending on the depth of snow. A hill's technical challenge can change so much based on if it's a sunny day with deep snow or a cold day after a rainstorm and it's icy. But I love being at the ski hills. Last year was our first year going to the Tamarack Mountain, and it kind of quickly became a favorite race, and I'm excited that we're finishing off our season again there. What was really neat about Tamarack that I liked was our runs were really long. A lot of them, everyone's getting so fast anymore, and you can only find hills that are so big, but we're racing these hills in 40 to 60 seconds. Well, Tamarack was almost like a cross-country race, at least in the eyes of a hill climb guy. We were, 2 minute 20 runs. We were going up the hill, then we were coming down the hill, and then mid-mountain they had built some jumps, so we kind of had like a hill cross vibe in there. Really had something for everyone. We had, challenging side hills, fast, flatter sections. Last year being the first year there, it definitely quickly came to be one of my favorite races, and really look forward to going back there.
And speaking of like that cross country element, like I got ideas, Cody. I got ideas for you. But I know you have too many. I don't know if you have too many drivers. You've got so many classes and so many drivers and so many entries that you can barely squeeze those things in at some races.
It is a challenge. I know last year it was a little over 1,000 racers over the hill in one day at Bear Lake. It was crazy how many runs we put over the hill just to get done.
How many individual drivers is that, do you think?
So we typically have between 450 and 550 races is what we do, riders every day. And then we final down, narrow down to qualifications for final. But part of that is we're running out of daylight. The sport's growing, we're getting new people, the membership's up, and it's getting funner. And now we're running out of daylight,
So what are you looking at in the future to deal with that?
That's a good question. We need to chat, further on that one. But, we don't know. We're trying to figure out what to do. We're trying to go back to maybe some of the old ways where we only qualify so many for the finals, get down to less so we can have a little bit higher quality, on the end, which is produced in flow. But we've got to figure that out. That is a spot that we're struggling with in our organization, because it's becoming popular. We're getting more and more people, which is what we want. We want to introduce it and get more of the younger crowd out there, get more of the new amateurs and in the semi-pros and up into the pros. We've got to either figure out how to come up with another lane, or we got to figure out how to get more people over the hill. Like Mason said, 2 years ago at Afton, we were 39, 36-second runs. And we don't yet. It gets to a certain point. I mean, these pros are so athletic and they are so good at what they do that we can't slow them down. Like, no matter what we do. I mean, like, let's look at what Polaris just released with Caleb's. The 9R boost. They're 260 horse.
Yeah,
that's unheard of.
Well, and we're seeing the same thing in the backcountry, right, Broc? Like you used to be able. There used to be a challenge of terrain, backcountry riding. And the technology in snowmobiles is factory turbos, and then you add in aftermarket to the factory turbo, and you're dealing with the 260 horsepower turbo that's on pump gas. Well, not on pump gas. This is on 111, but you've run out of mountain. There's no mountain that can challenge you anymore. And it's the same thing on the race circuit. Like, you're not really slowing these machines down because the hills aren't steep enough anymore. Like, I remember the days back in, it was 96 when Mark Thompson put that 96 Summit 670 over the top, first stock sled to go over the top. That was 96. So you had all that time before where these guys weren't even making like the second cat track at Jackson. And then you hit this window where technology gets better, and all of a sudden, I remember being I was in high school around that time, and just we would, and I was helping with the magazine. Like, that was when I was starting to get into Snow West, and we would talk all the time like, man, one of these days a stock sled is going to go over Jackson. And so it was really a battle of mods getting to the top, and then stock sleds not even getting anywhere near the top. It was always Heimwerks. Well, you go fast forward to 2025, and the stock sleds are putting down a time that's not far off of the open mods.
Right.
Like they're pretty similar.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, like, what a good time to be a snowmobiler, right? Like, the sleds we're getting from all the OEMs they're just incredible, and it's insane what they're capable of. But one thing, I went back and was looking at, like, results and stuff from last year and the times. From my stock classes to my open mod runs, my times, they don't vary more than about a second, you know? So that's just a testament to how good the snowmobiles are in stock form. From, you know, the guys building and designing these sleds, they know their stuff, they do their homework, and they're on the gas. And I think we can say that for all three of the OEMs.
Yeah, for sure. Let's switch gears here. Like, as far as RMSHA being a show, an entertainment source, like, I was surprised at the numbers you guys are pulling in from Flow Racing.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people watching this. Like what were some of the numbers you were telling me, Tracy?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, a lot of these races, and we have them in the paperwork, you're going, and in a lot of the avenues, we're 20 to 30,000 viewers at any given race. And Cody can elaborate on that a little bit too as well.
Yeah, so, metrics change a little bit, depending on time and what, the whole market of what's going on. But 2 years ago, we had just shy of 50,000 people watching on Sunday at Afton. Wow. And then, like Mason said, King of Kelly's, racing under the lights at night, our target entertainment, or our target audience that we're hitting, Kelly's is quickly becoming our biggest attended race or viewership on Flow, because it's so awesome to sit and watch what we do. Tracy's kind of called it the Power Hour, where we put all the premier stock sleds, and then they go up into the improver and then into the mods, and the big sleds. And it's, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, where everybody's at home watching, and we're pulling in that 30, 40, sometimes 50,000 people watching, on Flow. And then we've got now, because we're doing it in better venues, we're at ski resorts, we're having, attendance of 4, 5, 6, 7,000 people. Those are awesome numbers to get, to come and watch people like Hadley and Mason, and Keith, and just all those big time riders. They're there to watch these guys. They're putting on a show.
So how has that helped you as a racer, Hadley, with your sponsorship presentations? Like, because now you've got so many people watching you online, where it used to be like the people at the bottom of the mountain watching us race snowmobiles are just everybody's mom and dad and brother and sister.
Mm-hmm. The races that we are on Flow, I think it definitely helps. It gets the women's class out there. I'm sure it makes sponsors see you, see your skill level, see the women's class. Yeah, I think it helps.
Is this selling snowmobiles, Mason? And parts and gear?
I mean, I would think so. Eyes on the brands, right? Whether it's aftermarket, OEM, it's just, good brand recognition when there's, 30 to 50,000 people. I mean, that's really the equivalent of a college football stadium of eyes watching, Granted, we don't have the feel or the vibe as that many people in attendance that you get. But I think you have to remember that when you're going up the hill, there's that many eyeballs on you still, and there's a lot of value into that and opportunity for companies and corporations to get behind that,
How did this partnership with Flow Racing come?
So the partnership with Flow came through Triple Crown Sports and Kerry King, racing that way, because the Triple Crown was working with Flow, putting all before the NIT and stuff came on, and all that changed the game. But he introduced us. We started having that conversation because we were broadcasting, through Woodpecker Technologies as our production company, and we just started up with Flow, and it's quickly became the avenue of where we have to go, because we always refer back to the OEMs. Polaris is on board, Onyx is on board, Skidoo's on board, Arctic Cat's on board. Everybody wants that exposure to get out there, because they know those people are watching. They can get their products in front of the people, and it makes it funner, and it's a much more better avenue, I guess is the best way to say it, for the athletes, because they can go out and source those sponsors to help and push, because racing is not cheap, and to get anything these racers can do. I know there's quite a few racers that'll call in the weekend after the race, or by Wednesday, and they'll get all the analytics, and they provide all those, because we have those out there for the athletes to grab. and they can provide all those to their sponsorship, and then that tells them how much reach or how much exposure they're getting as a sponsor. And it's just great marketing. You know, the more we can promote the athlete, the more they can promote their sponsors, the more it promotes RMSHA, and it helps promote like Snow West. And one of the key elements here, and we kind of lean back on Tracy, is Flo has made it very, very clear to us that they need a voice, like the voice of RMSHA. And that is where the entertainment value comes in, because that's what draws people to watch the screen. If they get up to go and watch, you know, do the dishes, or they get up and go to the bathroom, it's like Flo always refers back to when, if you're walking through a room and you hear Bob Barker, you know The Price is Right's on. You know, if you hear like Pat Sajak or somebody, you know what's on the TV, and they want that voice, you know. And the voice of RMSHA is Tracy. He is the entertainment value of what we put. And anytime, you know, we don't stop any of our racers from getting on Flo. Like, they're all welcome to just go jump in the trailer at any time. We kind of throw Tracy to the wolves on that one. So.
Yeah, but we love it. Ryan loves it.
Tracy feeds off of that, and that's just what makes the show so good, because it's so organic.
Authentic, right? I mean, it's organic, and that's the key. And we go back to those numbers, right? And, you know, you're averaging a 23,000 per venue. And you got those venues like Afton, you know, gnarly, Wild Hills. And then, ironically enough, a lot of the riders, racers that we get to talk to in that trailer, Salt Pass Border Dash is still a big-time favorite for whatever reason may be. But Flo incorporates in all the social media. So you can pull those clips, you can push them through, and that makes things really cool when it comes to what we're doing.
And I after being in the trailer with you and watching some of those broadcasts before and then after, like I'm a huge Supercross, motocross fan. Like I catch every event, whether I watch it live or the next day.
Right.
And then I go find all the podcasts, and I listen to all the podcasts to get like the behind the scenes news about it.
Oh,
and
right.
Find out what was going on at the race that they didn't say on TV or didn't say on the broadcast. But your coverage of this with Flo Racing and you being the voice of RMSHA, it reminds me of like Race Day Live on Pro Supercross. And then going in and listening to like Jason Wygant and Ricky Carmichael and all of those guys that are broadcasting these pro races. And that's the same thing that you're doing. You're bringing the voice, and you're representing all of these drivers that are phenomenal riders. And it's a crazy sport. Like it's such a fun sport to watch if you've got the right format to be able to watch it. Like, it's hard to watch from the bottom of a mountain because you see the first 5 gates and then they're over the hill.
100%.
But now you've got like a legit broadcast service. This is a fun thing to tune in and watch.
I appreciate that, you know, and that's where everything starts to move forward and everything can incorporate, and it is fun to watch and be a part of. And again, with Flo, you can move in a lot of directions. I'm excited about it, and as you know, right, when those authentic interviews come into play, and you look at the running order of all of these amazing athletes in this. We looked at it numerous times, and it was like, who's going to win this? You couldn't call it from the start at all, because every one of them are incredible.
Yeah. Whether you're in the amateur class, the women's class, some of the best races at King of Kelly's was the women's class. I mean, it was it's close racing, and it comes down to a tenth of a second or less. And then you get into like you're talking power hour. Like you spend the whole day going through, start at 6 stock in the morning, and those guys always get the icy mountain, and 6 stock, 7 stock, and you work your way up there, and then you get into what you're talking power hour, which is like the night show, which is like fireworks go off, and we're going to kick off, for a couple hours here, and you can throw a blanket over those guys on their finish times. Like it's such tight racing, and to sit there and watch it, because I grew up watching it at the bottom of the mountain. Or watching it at Jackson. I think everybody listening to this probably has had that experience going to Jackson, riding the chairlift up, sliding down the mountain, and sitting there behind the snow fence watching this. And you as watching it live, it's like watching a pro football game or going to a baseball game. Like, you can see the action, you can hear it coming, and then you can see it right in front of you. So everybody like crowds up at the rock garden at Jackson on the snow fence, and then you kind of hear it going away. But you get on Flo Racing, and there's like 10, 12 camera angles catching every single gate. And so now you can sit there and watch. And again, I'll use the Supercross analogy. It's like, okay, how is this driver going to handle that gate? Because it's a big mogul that they pushed up with the cat, and they put a gate right on the inside of that. And these guys are going up, and then every now and then you'll see somebody get out of the trench and where it's still smooth, and there's not like a 4-foot trench where their track's dragging in, and how they can carry speed. Or they'll come at the bottom of that, and we were watching guys, and we were kind of clocking guys at King of Kelly's, how they would use those rhythm sections and jump through those differently.
And it was that important to decide who was going to be end winner. How were we looking at times? That's where it was going. And Rye, we can watch it so close. And I think it was gate 8 or 9 that we were trying to manipulate and decide how it was going to manipulate itself to get them across and up on the top of that flag, right, in that gate. And in those trailers, they got them playing in all of the trailers in the pit as well, and they're watching really close on what line to pick.
Yeah, I heard a lot of that just walking through the pits afterward. Just like races, like, hey, that was fun on the broadcast. I'm like, weren't you racing? Like, what are you doing here watching TV?
As a racer, I mean, Flow really has kind of changed the game in that aspect. There's every one of us, we have the Starlink set up and we got the live stream going, so we can be listening to the ins and outs when a racer gets on there and talks about the course, like, that's how he got through that hole. We can learn a little bit, and then the camera angles are so good. We can just, kind of sit in there and watch and study and try to be the best that we can, and certainly there's some cons to that a little bit. There's some people that, like, well, you lose some of the camaraderie between the racers because everyone kind of just hides out in their trailers. But the other side of that is, again, the OEMs and Onyx and these sponsors have spent a lot of money on us racers to be the best that we can. And the only way, you can do that is to be studying and watching the course. So when you get out there, you can put on the best show for everyone watching possible.
And I think this is where these big numbers are coming from on viewership, is because every snowmobiler can relate to what's going on our RMSHA. Like snowcross, to a degree. Like I can see myself doing some of the things that snowcross guys are doing, but for the most part, no. Like I'm not facing into moguls for 20 minutes, and I'm not riding a sled that's 6.5 feet wide.
Right.
But on RMSHA, okay, you're riding a Summit X up that mountain. I ride a Summit X.
Yeah, I'm racing the same sled that someone just bought in a dealership.
Yeah. And it looks the same, and the maneuvers that you're doing to get over these jumps, I think I could do that. You sit there and watch that. I could do that. I could beat Keith's time. Geez, I could be smoking a cab by 5 seconds.
Right.
Well, like guys like me that don't go up to the races every weekend. I haven't been to one for actually a couple of years since I quit Arctic Cat. And last year I found myself, on my phone watching Flow Sports, listening.
Yeah.
And so it makes it easy for all of us that are, casual fans. Casual spectators. So it's so simple. It's right there. It's in the palm of my hand.
I appreciate it too. And Brock, like we talk about, the fun thing being at home and getting that excitement, you're going, Flo, what do we got this weekend? And Ryan and I had a blast with this. We don't say sit back and relax, let's get ready for the show. It's like get on the edge of your seat and get ready. It's time to go.
Yeah. No, you've brought a lot of excitement into it.
It's fun.
And it's easy now, like with Flow Sports.
Yeah, it's really leveled up just RMSHA racing as a spectator sport. Because it used to be a participant sport. You would go race it, and you kind of watch it there, and then you would hear about it, and then most people would see what's going on at Jackson. But now it's like, man, I can follow this like an actual race circuit. Like I can follow you guys progressing and building points and winning races, and I can keep track of, oh man, this guy got a king this week. Like that's cool. Like they beat out the guys that usually get all the kings. And
something I've noticed too. Just since Flow, like with you, Ryan, is, there's been a few times that, you've called me up after a race and we're kind of an on the phone podcast, and you're like, hey, I seen this, and this, like, tell me about it, and I've listened to some of those podcasts where you've done that with a lot of racers. And if it wasn't for Flow, I mean, you would have to go to every single race, and sometimes that's just, as a journalist, as a media outlet for our industry, it's just not feasible, or it just doesn't make sense to follow that schedule. But now you can get other things done, still watch, be a part of it, and be able to, do a little press on it, which is awesome to have you doing that as, from a racer's perspective.
Yeah, I can sit on my couch drinking a Red Bull, eating chips.
And you're working, right? Yeah.
Not getting cold.
Yeah.
That's easy. Well, I remember racing though when I raced that year with Brett. I remember how much time it blew my mind how much time I spent not on a snowmobile. on a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
It's like, I think I was like, man, this last race, I think I added it up. I'm like, okay, I ran 4 classes and I qualified in 2. And I think I was on my snowmobile for 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And I drove 400 miles to Flathead Lake, Montana.
Yeah.
You know, and you start adding that stuff up. But now I love it. I love watching these races and just following it. And I don't catch every single one of them, but like you said, like when I can,
Right.
the coverage is phenomenal. Like it's every bit as good as watching a Supercross race.
Love that.
What do you think, Mason? Less chairlift time because of this? We can, analyze it.
for
we can
sure.
analyze it. Boom. Every one of those gates you can analyze.
Yeah, we still,
rather than being on the chairlift as much.
Yeah, it's still nice to get out and walk the hill, and you got to kind of get that hands-on experience as a racer to see, you're not on the TV. It's hard to see what kind of traction's in the snow. Sometimes you just got to get out there and feel it, But yeah, I definitely walk the hill way less than I used to walk it before every single run.
Right.
I'd be hurrying up there to get my eyes on something in gate whatever. Now you just zoom in on flow and it's awesome.
You start sliding a little money our way to Tracy. We'll text you. Like,
Okay, yeah, right. Yep.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny too because they want hands-on, right? They want us on the hill. They're like Mason. I think he was a big part of this in Afton last year. Him and Tavern Rupp and some of these other guys. You got to get up there, Trace. We got to interview on top of the hill. I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm quite ready for that, guys. Let's do it though. We get up there, and I mean, it's the real deal. So you get also that authenticity, right, of the hill and what's going on. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah,
it's
and
incredible.
I think that's important for you as the announcer to be up there on the mountain.
Yeah.
And go to some of these gates and go stand in some of those trenches and have that perspective of like, okay, this looks different on TV. I'm telling you, this stuff is not going to be easy to ride.
Tracy and I are both vertically challenged in our lives, and seeing Tracy stand in a mogul up there that he couldn't see out of was like the ultimate during Afton.
Everybody else could, but me is the joke, right?
Oh, yeah. You could take a couple cameras and put them down at like almost ground level just to show a little of the depth.
Right.
Because, they're all kind of high mounted, so you can see multiple gates.
Yeah.
But get a little more perspective on some of those corners. I don't know. And I hate to keep bringing up Supercross, but they have a drone view now. I don't know if that's a thought. Team up with some of these, if Flow has that access.
We do with our production, and we're going down that road. The issue is the drone regulations to where we race on a lot of national forest land. But that hurdle, I believe, has been changed. We've got over that this year, so that is going to be an issue for this year. So.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So your tentative races on off dates, like you mentioned, you got Lookout Pass as a possibility, Pebble Creek, Crested Butte, Sunlight Resort in Colorado. Have you ever been there? You haven't done a race there, have you?
No, we have never been there before. We used to do, and we can chat a little bit about X Games, but we were used to race at Crested Butte. That's where the X Game qualifiers were. Lookout Pass was on last year. It didn't happen. They've raced there once before. Pebble. Pebble is a historic, what we call a legacy race, but it's very temperamental with snow, And then Discovery, that one, Keith Curtis brought to us. We've had multiple conversations. I would say that's probably more on the 75% go that we're going to have a race up there this year if we can figure out how to logistically make it happen.
Really?
So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great, man. The more you can expand into this, and what's your limit? I mean, 8 races, probably about the most you can do in a season?
8 to 10, because generally we always lose 1 or 2 just to Mother Nature, or bad snow. So.
Yeah, and if you go more than 8, then you're going to start getting into the back-to-back stuff, right?
Correct.
Which is where a lot of guys don't want that. But if you're growing the circuit, you got to do it.
Right.
Like maybe you'll get up to where you got like 16 races in a season. But if you do that, if you had more races, you could get away with running fewer classes and kind of slim that down,
There's a ton of that talk, too. Trim the fat somewhere. We got to try to make that make sense. And I think that's been the talk of these guys and, of course, board members and things like that make a lot of difference. And it's so cool to think of where it's going as well. I mean, an amazing sport that can keep evolving. I'm excited about it.
So talk about the sponsors. Like you said, the manufacturers help. Skidoo, Polaris, Arctic Cat. Onyx Off-Road is a big one. What do these guys bring to the organization?
So Onyx has been huge. Let's just be honest. Rory Edwards and his family, Isla, and just his whole family in general. what they bring to the sport is they're some of the coolest family members you'll ever meet. They're just fun to be around. And what Onyx brings to us is that practicality of, their app. They print out a thing for every one of our races that tell us how much elevation change, how much slope there is, what we do, like avalanche danger. The practicality of the exposure of what we use it for the racing is the same thing that you guys can use when you go out and go riding in the backcountry, Onyx has made a lot of the changes over the last couple of years take place with RMSHA. They've come in and provided the support, and obviously the monetary support to be a part of it. But they have been probably the largest growth factor of what we've done for RMSHA. Just them being involved, telling us what we can do better, helping us navigate some of that, terrain that we've traditionally haven't been as being a commercial fan-based business. And that's part of the growth. Like, we got to have that commercial fan base. We want to get it out there to everybody. We want to invite the kids, the young kids. We started the juniors class, so you can start racing when you're 12 years old now. And let's just be honest. Some of the 600 sleds, the 650 sleds, you're putting a 12-year-old kid on those, a 155 track. We're not the brightest people on the block, but it's awesome. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. But going that direction is where you get into now. You got more classes, So it's got to be something where you're constantly juggling. Like, how do we grow this? How do we add more? How do we make it more appealing to a wider age range and a wider family, more family appeal, and then squeeze all this into 2-day race format?
Correct.
More night shows. Let's do more night shows.
Yeah.
Let's run these things till midnight.
The night show is a completely different element. And Mason, when we first brought it up, was a little bit of I don't want to say it was real thought of as being positive, but we had a lot of people that were excited for it. But you all of a sudden get shadows. You get holes where the lights can't hit, and let's just be honest. What's the last time you seen a mod sled with a headlight?
I remember, yeah. Well, not this year I was in the trailer with you, but the year before, first year of the night show, I was in the pits and I was doing social media stuff just in the pits of everybody. And Jay Manorberry's like, I don't have any clear lenses. And he's walking around asking, like, hey, can I borrow some clear lenses? And then they were finding every flashlight they could come up with and taping it to the hood and taping it to the handlebars.
It's funny.
Taping them to their helmets.
When it comes to Kelly's, like, you spend, everyone right now is, they're getting ready to build mod sleds, the OEMs, they're spending all this money and time trying to make these sleds as light and fast and efficient as possible. And then Kelly Canyon comes and we're just like, 5-pound flashlight here, just strapping lights on every little, like, who cares about all that when it comes to nighttime? So it does change the whole dynamic. It's a fun race, I think it's something maybe RMSHA was missing a little bit. We kind of get into this consistent flow, not a lot of change, and Kelly's has brought kind of a new vibe to the RMSHA circuit.
But you talk about how do you come up with something that's going to slow down your course time? Well, throw some shadows in there.
Right.
These guys will slow down if they can't see.
Yep.
Like, I know the light, you want perfect lighting, you want light in every single spot, but man, there's some elements where make the pros be pros.
Yep, for sure.
Well, it's interesting in talking to like Keith or talking to Colby. Colby Craper was a huge asset. Him and Mason kind of helped put that whole show on with Riley up there. But, it's dark. We got lights in certain spots where you can see the whole course, but they're going to hit like a 20-foot bump that we built with the ski, with the Snowcat, and it's pitch black. Like, how much pro is there in that? You know what I mean? That's just, they are extreme athletes. They're awesome.
Yeah, you got to put so much, it's why we test and we tune. We get to where you're so comfortable and can trust your suspension and what your sled's going to do. And so when it gets a little dark and there's a bump there, you just hold on and know it's going to do what it needs to do, and it just keeps things exciting.
So let me ask you this, Mason, and you can answer this however you want. Say you show up to a RMSHA race that's not Jackson, and you can race 5 classes, right?
Right.
You got 5 classes. Let's say you win all 5 classes, and then let's say you sweep the Kings.
Yep.
And then you go home King of Kings. How much money did you make?
So a clean sweep. So first of all, people need to understand it varies on a couple of things. One, how many people are in the class? Because RMSHA, so the way RMSHA pays its pros is based off our entries. So if a class has 50 guys in it, first place is a lot bigger paycheck, right? If there's only 10 guys in it, it's going to be smaller, you know. And I don't know, on average, maybe a first place guy's getting $900 to $1,000, you know, an OEM contingency's probably somewhere close, probably double that, you know, so times that by 5, times that by 3 on a clean sweep, some bonus money for being, you know, the premier class winner or something. So you kind of start doing that math. There's definitely some money to be made in RMSHA if consistency pays off for sure.
So if you do this every weekend and you go to 6 races and you can pocket 10 grand a race,
it's possible.
There's
for sure.
Like there's a couple guys that could be doing
right.
that. So and actually make a living off of this sport.
For sure. I mean, you definitely, guys can make I mean, granted, you got to think about what kind of living you want, right? But a consistently...
It's rodeo. You got a rodeo pro down there at the end of the day.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Yeah, I was thinking
Come on,
too.
you got more belt buckles than you can count. I mean, just the wads of cash.
Belt buckles and saddles, but not the cash.
Yeah.
Was that the subtle and humble Mason Rutledge that has roughly 10 grand? It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some money to be made in RMSHA. You know, I think there has been some guys that's been their sole income, you know, and there's obviously salaries involved and different things with OEMs or different companies that play a big role in that as well. But it can grow too. You know, one thing we have talked internally a lot is we do have a lot of classes. And for pros, that's spread out between a lot of classes. You start condensing some of that, those dollars could go up and even maybe pay a little deeper into a class. You know, that's something we talk a lot about Supercross. You know, anyone going to a Supercross is coming home with a little bit of money, you know, and then obviously the better they do, the more they get. But it's self-sufficient for these guys that are maybe just barely making it into a main event. They can still fund a living. Now it's, you know, a lot more modest of a lifestyle than the guy getting first place. But they're able to still go do it every weekend. And RMSHA, we definitely need to work on that and think about it because, you know, as a pro, you need 2 to 3 snowmobiles probably to be competitive. And it's no secret that our snowmobiles are really expensive. You know, so something we have to consider if we're going to continue growing the sport and we want to incentivize people to go into the pro class is we need to encourage and make sure that there's a little something for everyone there, but also really reward the guys that are treating it like a full-time job and taking it serious.
So what is the secret? And I ask this because, I mean, I've covered this sport my entire life, all aspects of it. And to get outside sponsorship in such a niche power sport segment is hard. Like Supercross has a hard time doing it.
Right.
But they get the energy drinks. What is the secret recipe to getting Monster Energy in backing RMSHA? Like, how do we get that level?
Trace and I actually had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. We sit in his office at his job and chat for a minute. But, you know, there's that hurdle that we got to get over. And I don't know, you know, we've had a couple of discussions with Red Bull, but the problem with Red Bull is when we team up with them, it's a Red Bull event. We are just participating in their event and they kind of govern everything. But, you know, we had the conversation. We need to approach Monster. We need to get to that next level where that brings in all that sponsorship to where we can elevate it for our athletes. You know, it's really not about RMSHA at this point. It's about helping our athletes get more exposure and help bring in more to their pocket, and that's what's going to elevate RMSHA. So it's a challenge.
Yeah, and I think, you know, outside of like the energy drink companies, you know, because like you said, you know, we love the snowmobile industry. It's not a massive industry, and everyone wants to support as much as they can. But I mean, at the end of the day, every company can only go so far. But that's been one of the unique things I think about Onyx and why they've been so awesome is they're an outdoor enthusiast company. You know, whether you're a hiker, skier, snowmobiler, whatever it is, they have a tool and a feature that's awesome for you. So they're a good match for a title sponsor. You know, and somewhere a place I would think that would be a good place to look for an equal level of support would be, you know, sure, the energy drinks, but maybe an insurance company. You know, I'm starting to see a lot of like Progressive in the Supercross, motocross world, and you know, everyone needs to insure their snowmobile, and So I would
And their truck and their
truck,
trailer,
and
Yeah.
I
so
would
much stuff.
I would like to see where we can maybe catch some interest of those type of companies. They're big corporations, but yet we have like a direct source of people that need that product still. Just like Onyx.
Yeah, because you're still, but it can be true for a lot of time. Like you guys are just racing for each other's money.
Right.
You might as well just go play cards one night and everybody just throw $5,000 in the pot and just sit there and gamble it off that way. It's as opposed to racing it. But I don't know. It's a fun sport, and your sponsors are great companies. You've got a lot more sponsors than just the ones we've talked about.
Absolutely.
You got multi-level sponsorships. Carl Cycle. Who are some of the others that you're?
We got all three of the OEs. We got Onyx. We got SOP as a legacy sponsor. So SOP has been involved with us since almost the beginning of when RMSHA started. Jerry and those guys take care of everybody that races. If you want to be a part of theirs, you just go in and fill out an application. And Jerry told me, I think it was last year at Heydays, we sat down and had a big chat, that he's never turned a racer down. So if you're willing to take the time and go chat with them and fill out an application and do what they ask, they'll sponsor you. I don't know how many racers know that. And those are the type of people that we like to align with, and Speedworks is a big one in the backside that gets involved. IBEX, I had a conversation with IBEX earlier. They want to be a part of RMSHA and sponsoring us going forward. Bikeman, I know, tunes a lot of stuff, for what we got in the industry, but they're all associated with all of our athletes. And bringing that in is, they're all supporters of RMSHA.
Yeah.
But
And like you were talking about, Onyx, great guys. I need to get Rory and Isla on a podcast. We've been talking about that for a while, but that app, I love that app. Like 2 years ago when Bruce and we went and did a ride with Dave McClure, like an early ride. It was the year that it didn't snow, where we had like 18 inches of snow in December.
Right.
And then we had 19 inches of snow in February.
Right, yep.
I think we had one storm come through and it gave us 3/4 of an inch. But we went up and dumped into some place up in Teton Valley. And we dropped into this north-facing canyon, and it was total carnage, like just demolishing stuff. First ride of the year, and we get up, and obviously you're touching on a wilderness area there, and we're up there like way back up in there, and we're riding around at this one spot with our phone out and Onyx open, and you're just cruising through the trees, and you're like, oh, I got to turn there, and then you're going this way, okay, this way, and okay, all right, we're good now. This zone is good. And you're just skirting, but you never had that technology until Onyx. And then they just keep adding layers every single year.
No, it's true. I mean, like they're incredible supporters of RMSHA, right? But really any outdoor enthusiast should be using Onyx, right? Like I find something all the time on there, that a feature that I can use. And, I probably drive my wife nuts because I'm just like zooming in, looking at places I can go ride my snowmobile or dirt bike or whatever, and just studying the mountains, and it's amazing what you can learn from that.
Yeah,
Onyx has changed the hunting game too.
Yeah,
like big time. Yeah, it's crazy. I use it a lot for that.
Like it's finding out who owns private property.
There you go. Yep.
Brock's like, who owns that bull I want to shoot? Whose hayfield is that?
Whose house do I got to go visit?
Who do I need to go take them some homemade gifts?
Yeah. No, we use Onyx all the time. So.
Well, that's cool. All right, you guys got anything else you want to cover on this?
I think we're good. We appreciate everything you do, and the organization and just the camaraderie inside of our market. And it's awesome just to be a part of everything and watching it all grow and be a part of it. So thank you for everything you've done.
It's a situation where, number one, it's such a fun sport. Whether you're riding it, you're watching it, you're going out and just riding trails, you're going out and riding mountains. Like it's just such a fun thing to do in the winter. There's not much else you can do in the winter. You go skiing, snowboarding, but that's boring.
Right.
You got to ride a chairlift up and then go down the hill. We're going the other way. But it's just such a family sport, and I mean that not just like, I can bring my kids and do that. I mean like we're all family. Like this is a cool organization.
That is something I want to just mention from the RMSHA family. It don't matter what brand you ride. If you're in the pits and you need help, like I got to say kudos to all the athletes and all the people that participate. Like, if somebody's got it, it's yours. Like if somebody wrecks or breaks something, it just shows up in your trailer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But the family atmosphere that you're talking about is so awesome inside of the snow machine industry that it can't be matched anywhere else. It's just fun.
So Brock, next time you smash a sled, go to the race,
Put it in Cody's
trailer.
trailer. I can go to Cody's
Yep.
trailer. There we go.
Parts galore at these room shot races.
I
Like, you'd be
get
shocked.
hooked up. Actually, I gave someone a part last year on the mountain, dude. Like, it was me. I hooked a guy up,
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
you know?
Was it you though when we were up riding and we're on the mountain and we're riding? It was either you. It was you.
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah. And you're on the phone and you're like, yeah, just go to Ryan's garage. What's the code? Yeah, just pull the axle off. You can take it.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it was my buddy. He was up there riding a couple canyons away from us, blew an axle on his skidoo, and I said, Ryan, can we borrow that axle off that skidoo that's sitting in your shop?
Just parts, just whatever you need. Yeah.
Go pull it off.
Grab it. Yeah.
But I didn't say I'd go get it for him, right?
No.
We stayed out riding.
You drew the line there. Yeah, you weren't going to go turn wrenches for him. All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show, all of you guys,
Yeah,
and
thanks for
really
having us.
appreciate
Thank
it and having the conversation. And it's just fun to get around, like Tracy, like you're getting into podcasting.
Yeah.
Down there in Soda Springs.
Yeah.
And Ruckus, what is it?
The small town ruckus.
Small town Ruckus.
Yeah.
Like, isn't this just fun to get around and just talk?
It is. We talked about this pre-show, and you get things put together, and you just have a good time. It makes sense.
Yeah. And the information that comes out, and I hope y'all listening to this, if you're on YouTube, go back and just hit the Snow West Magazine YouTube channel, subscribe if you can. But just go through. We've got 100 episodes of these podcasts on there. And you can just listen to these and just turn it on and just let it play in the background. You'll learn more about the snowmobile industry just listening to what these guys say when they're not trying to make a point. They're just saying, and you just glean so much information on how everything works. And same thing with the room shot circuit, just how this all works. And riders and people and all of that. But thanks to Mason Rutledge, Hadley West, Cody Spencer, Tracy Davis, Broc Genta. I won't call you Bruce, but I'll call Bruce Brock. But thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks
you.
for having
Thank
us.
you.
All right. See
Thanks.
you later. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.